going to do today is a class called The Anatomy of a Bracha. And that is because most people in the world know that after the word, in a blessing, let's say, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech, what? Haolam. See, everyone knows that. No, almost everyone knows it. It's rare that I ever find someone who doesn't know those 6 words, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Everyone seems to know those words, but very few people you'll ever meet know what they mean. So I figure it's a good subject of a class. Let's figure out what all 6 of those words mean so that when you'll be saying it throughout your life, you'll actually know what you're talking about. How do you guys like that idea? What do you think? What do you think? Would it be nice to know what those 6 words mean? Okay, you got to understand that 4 of the 6 are things we're calling God. Okay, we're calling him you. We're calling him Ado. We're calling him Elo. And we're calling him Melech, which means king. 4 of the 6 are names we're calling God. And what are those names all about? And the only last 2 words are Melech and Haolam. Those are the last 2 words. Belet, Baruch. I'm not used to talking at 3. Baruch and Haolam are the only 2 other words, which is blessed and the world, or the universe. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start with the word Baruch. Okay, the word Baruch, which has a root, has many meanings. The root is Bet, Resh, and Chaf. That's the root. Most Hebrew words have 3-letter roots. There are some Hebrew words that have 2. Most have 3. So it's Bet, Resh, Chaf. And Bet, Resh, Chaf has 3 meanings. We're going to focus on all 3. One is blessed, which is a little strange. I'm not sure, because God doesn't need our blessings, but blessed, that God is blessed, like praised. Number 2 is blessed, you can say maybe recognized, like I recognize you. Is that a Z? Is that right? Recognize. The other is the word for Baruch is knees, and the last word is elbows. Just kidding. Reservoir or source. Brecha from the word pool. Okay? So Baruch means blessed. It also means knees from the word berech, like your knees. And the third is source because of the word brecha. Brecha in modern Hebrew is what? What do they call it? It's a pool. Like if you go swimming in a hotel, if you look in the elevator in a hotel, it'll have a floor called the brecha, where you go swim. Okay, it's a pool. But in history, swimming wasn't what people did with bodies of water. You know, you may have swam, but the main thing of a body of water was the source. It was the source of sustenance. That's how you survived, was you had a reservoir and you used it for your life, for drinking and for agriculture. Okay? Now, let's start with the knees. Okay? Look at my knees. I want you to look at my height right now. Okay, I'm going to mark the height right here. Okay? Okay, there's my height. And now I'm going to use my knees. Watch what happens. Well, what do the knees do? So I'm going to ask you real quick. When you lower your stature, when you lower your body, what rises? When you lower your stature, when you lower your body, what rises? When you lower your ego, what rises?
Room for growth.
What rises when you lower your ego?
Your connection to God.
You guys, you're made of body and soul. When the body goes down, the soul goes up. You overbody, your soul goes on sleep mode. You lower the body, your soul actually wakes up. Your soul speaks up. Okay? So this concept of going down in stature, from that being your natural height, and that's the knee height, that when you lower yourself, because what do? We're all about the ego. We're all about the ego. We're all about our own power. We're all about what we can earn, what we can make. You earn your keep. You pay for the apple. You get the apple. You eat the apple. You didn't work. You didn't make your keep. You don't buy the apple. You don't eat the apple. That's the way most people look at life. But a Jew, when it comes time to eat that apple, which he did work for, and he did go out and buy it, and he now got it back to his house, and he looks at that apple, and he's about to eat it, and he stops, and he says, Baruch. He's now humbled himself to say that God is the source of that apple. Okay? Because you could say that he's the source of the apple, he worked for it, or maybe you want to say the store is the source of the apple, or maybe you want to say the field is the source of the apple. Or maybe you want to say the seed was the source of the apple. But really, when it all boils down to it, God's the source of that apple. And when you make a blessing on any one thing, you're recognizing the source of it. When you make a blessing on a rainbow is very beautiful. Maybe you're making a blessing on its beauty. No, what you're saying is, blessed are you, God, who gave this rainbow and fulfills his covenant to not destroy the world by rain. And that's the blessing we make on a rainbow. But we are always recognizing God as the source. And this is the term Yehudi. Yehudi is from the word Todah. Jew in Hebrew is Todah, is a giver of thanks. Okay, what's Yehudi mean? A thanksgiver. If you're a Jew, the word Jew means Yud or Jew, which means thanksgiving. And that's our essence. The essence of the Jew is to use the knees. What does the knees mean? It means to humble. Humble your ego before God. And you'll notice when we pray in the silent prayer, what do we do with our knees when we say Baruch? We bend first. Baruch. We bend the knees, humble that stature. Okay? Then Atah, we bend all the way down, all the way till we're horizontal with the floor. And then the word source from the word brecha. Remember, bet resh chaf. The reservoir is called a brecha, a source for sustenance. What sustains the world is water for agriculture and for drinking. That's the source of sustenance. And what we're doing is we are humbling ourselves and recognizing that God is the source of sustenance. Or you can even add the arrow with the knees, is that it's drawing down, which has to do with the beard. The beard draws down wisdom from the mind to the heart. You notice women, thank God, don't grow beards. Yeah, except I think there's one of our neighbors has a beard, but this old lady on a walker, but she's a little frisky. But otherwise, women generally don't grow beards because notice how women, when they think something, hear something, saw something, it goes straight to the heart. They feel it. The emotions come right away. They get it right away. Men are the opposite. And so we have these beards that draw down. It's the same thing of like drawing down the idea to the heart. Okay, the payas also are taking from the brain down to the heart. But that's like a constant theme in Judaism, especially for men, is to draw the intellect to the emotions, taking intellect to emotions. And so we could all now this is all in Baruch. Now, how slowly in your future are you going to have to say Baruch to get all this stuff in? Think about that. And now the next time you'll see one of these great Kabbalists say a blessing, you'll realize what they're up to. They'll be like, holding their drink. I already made a bracha, but they'll hold their drink. They'll be like, Baruch. And you're thinking, like, what's the matter with this guy? Lift the needle off the turntable.
Benching by the time he's done.
I'm going to play you some blessings, some of these amazing blessings. I'll play you the best one at the end. We'll finish the class with the best blessing. They have some YouTube blessings that blow your mind of Rabbis making brachas. Okay, now we're going to the next word. Yeah. Now the next word is Atah. Atah. It's got a and a and a ta. I don't know if you guys know, because most people pronounce these the same, but these are separate. A-o. A-o. Yeah, Atah. Try that. Atah. Atah. You don't have to do it so pronounced, but it's important to do. It's also important to note that the same o is on the end of God's name, so it's not Adonai. Okay? Normally I wouldn't say such a thing, right, without a blessing. But if I'm saying nai, it's not really saying it right, so it's okay. But it's noi. Yeah? If it were like this one under the I, so it'd be Adonai. Yeah? But it's not. It's a kom. It's Ado. No, I'm not going to say it. Noi. Okay? Noi. Everyone try the word noi? Noi. Okay? So there's nai. It's not. Noi. It is. Okay? So, yeah. Okay. Now, it's interesting though. The word for this kind of vowel is pasach. Pasach means door. Petach. A door, which means it's open. Right? Atah. Yeah, and the word for the one that looks more like this is called a kometz, which means to contract. It really literally means to contract. So the contraction of the mouth is how you make the sound. So it's to. You see that? Pasach, open, to, kometz, contracted. Okay? Now, Atah is an interesting word. I'm not going to go too deep into its Kabbalah, but you'll notice it's got an aleph till a taf. That's the first and last letter of the alphabet. The alphabet. Aleph till taf. And the hey is amazing because it's the 5 exits of the mouth. Okay, so that's how you make the sounds of aleph till taf. You have your guttural, that's like the ches, minha. Yeah, the guttural, the palate, the teeth, the tongue, and the lips are the 5 ways of shaping the sound that comes out of your vocal cords. There are 5 exits to the mouth. But we're not going to go into that right now. What we're going into is its meaning. What is the meaning of Atah? You. Excellent. The meaning is you. Now, our rabbis say that that's chutzpah. Chutzpah, you know what chutzpah means? Chutzpah means it's brazen. It's not right. How can you call God you? If it's a king, it's your highness. If it's a judge, it's your honor. If it's the head of the yeshiva, you call him with the Rosh Yeshiva like some water. If it's the president, Mr. President ready for his press conference, yeah, you don't call people of great respect you. You see, even in Spanish, there's tú, and there's usted. Yeah, it's got a whole different word for respect. You don't just call someone. You don't call your parents you. Yeah, you don't call your parents you. And really, in the letter of the law, in Jewish law, honoring your parents includes not calling them you. You really ultimately should be saying, would mother like a glass of water? Yeah, the only problem is she'll be like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. So you can't do that, but in the ultimate picture of things, you would say, would father like some more bread? Like that. We don't do that today, but one thing's for sure is you never call him by his first name. Okay, that you never do. And it's really dangerous in our world because the kids are raised never to call their parents ever by their first name. And so what happens is the kid's lost and like, who are your parents? The kid's like, Goldstein. You're like, it's the first name. And the kid's like, can't say his first name. Forbidden. We're like, well, which forefather is he named after? Oh, Abraham. Yeah. So anyway, Atah means you, okay? But you get how that's chutzpah? How can you call God you? Why don't we have another name of God? And the answer is, when you lower your stature, when the body goes down, the soul comes up, and then you can call God you. Let me explain. When 2 judges are playing tennis together after their day in court, do they call each other your honor? Would your honor serve, please? Do they do that? Would your honor like a beer now that we've finished playing tennis? They do not do that. They're contemporaries. Contemporaries call each other you. Okay, and also heads of state call each other you. They don't call each other these formal names. They hang out, smoke their cigars, and talk about things. So you is a contemporary way to refer to God. And when you start with the word Baruch, you are now open to the word Atah. Meaning, if you say Baruch, you're now allowed to say Atah. Clear? Meaning, once you've humbled yourself with Baruch, and you're now recognizing God's the source of all things. So when the body goes down, what comes up? The soul, thank you. And when the soul's up, well, the soul, what is your soul? Think about it. Can't see it. Doesn't take up any time and space. Doesn't show up in an MRI. It's totally spiritual, meaning it's one with God, which means you're contemporaries. When you humble yourself, you become a contemporary of God. And now you can call God you. Okay, is that clear? You? Now, the next thing is, well, I'll let you guys guess. Remember I said we're going to call God 4 things? So they all come in a row. Atah, then Hashem, that's the Yud and the He and the Vav and the He. Elokeinu, which is translating English, our God. Melech, king. Which of those 4 would you say is the holiest? The name of God, you'd say Yud Ke Vav Ke. And then there's our God, Elokeinu. And then Melech, king. You guys, anyone want to vote for those? So the answer is, guess what our Kabbalists teach us? That the holiest name you call God, of all the names of God, is right there, Atah. Atah is the holiest. You know why? Because it's right to the essence. Right to the essence. What's your name, sir?
Alex.
Alex. Imagine I called you Alex only, though. Meaning, would Alex like to go to the park? Would Alex like to go get a beer? Would Alex like to hang out? Yeah, you'd just be like, Rabbi, this is weird. Like, just speak to me. You understand? If I put you in an MRI, it's not going to be your name on the screen. Like in millions of your name, millions of Alex on the screen. It's not going to be that way. There's a you that's your essence. And when you call God Atah, you're speaking into the essence of God, which has no name. God doesn't have a name. All those names we have for God are not God, just like you're not you. You're not your name. What's your name? You're not Jeff. You're not Jeff. We call you Jeff so that you'll turn around, so that you'll respond, so we can be effective in communicating. But you're not Jeff, right? There's something much deeper that you are, your essence. And when you speak to someone and you call them you, it's interesting what that you, like, no one would ever ask you to define it. Like, you imagine someone says, hey, how you doing? And you're like, would you like to define what you meant by you when you called me you? Yeah, you guys like, well, I guess I couldn't do that, really, because you can't. It's your essence. Your essence is what you're listening to me with right now. It's your point of reference. You know, they've done brain scans on human brains to figure out, like, to map it. They know where taste is. They know where smell is. They know where sight is. They know where hearing is. They know where love is. They know where fear is. They know where all that stuff is. The one thing they can't find is you. And they can't find it. They're not even looking anymore because you don't exist. They've checked the whole brain. You're not there. It's wild. You is like your essence. It's your soul. And what's your body and what's your brain? It's your avatar. Your body is just your avatar for you. Your brain is just the computer console of you. But who you are, in essence, is something way beyond any ways that you might manifest. So you is, when we call God you, we're not talking names here. We're going straight to the heart, straight to the essence of God. And we're coming from essence, too, because we started with Baruch. When we say Baruch, we cut to the essence of who we are, and then we call God the essence of who he is, which we have no idea who he is. But we just use the word you for that. Now, the next word is, so you, and it's also essence. All right, very good. Now, the next word, I'm going to put lines by it, is Yud and He and Vav and He. Now, I'm going to teach you a little secret about the Kabbalah. Well, it's a secret about Judaism from the Kabbalah. Any letter that's touching the top is from the spiritual, and every letter does. That's a spiritual letter, and any letter touching the bottom, wherever it touches, is a physical, is the physical. So you'll start to realize that God's name is a pictorial. It's a pictorial. This is not, right, just like you're not your name, God's not this either. This is a pictorial that God has given us to let us know something about him. Number one, Yud. The Yud represents pure idea. That's a Yud. A Yud is pure idea. Right? If you suddenly said, I want to buy an ice cream cone after yeshiva today, did anything happen? Anything happen in the real world? Not at all. It's pure idea. It's plan. It's potential. You may. You may not. If I want to build a house, that's Yud. Oh, I'd like to build a new house on top of that mountain over there. Okay? Pure yud. Nothing's happened. Now, the next letter is a hey. And the hey represents taking that idea and really fleshing that idea out. Take an idea and fleshing it out. Hey represents dimension. Okay? Whenever you got a hey, you're talking about the dimension of the thing. And that might be the blueprint of the house. I want to build a house. Now, I haven't built a house, but I know what kind of house I want to build. And that's the hey. Okay? It's all the dimension of the thing. So yud is like the seminal idea. And hey takes that idea and gestates and takes that seminal idea and creates a baby out of it, even though there's no baby yet. But it at least creates a blueprint of what it is you want. And so Kabbalistically, God's saying that I have an idea to create the world. This is the idea fleshed out. But look at the Vav. Look at what an interesting letter Vav is. What is Vav? Vav is a Yud. Only what? Boom. The Vav brings it into actualization. It's the actualization of an idea. So like I'm a Yud personality. I have a very strong Yud personality. I'm such a dreamer. I have all these plans for Israel, and like I'm always saying if I were prime minister, and you know all these things. I'm an idea guy. I'm not a very good implementer. I'm very good at ideas. So I have Vav people who work for me. I hire Vav people who work for me, and they make sure my ideas hit the ground. Got that? And any of you guys, raise your hand if you're more Yud types. More Yud types. So wouldn't you love to be able to afford a Vavnik? A Vav? Wouldn't you love to be able to afford a Vav? Well, can you afford a Vav to implement all your ideas? You might think you can't, but you should know that it's in the implementation that you'll be able to afford the ideas. You get that? So what happens, a lot of people say, if I only had the wherewithal, I would do all this stuff, right? Nothing will ever happen there. But when you collaborate with a Vavnik and you create a business plan, and the two of you get together, and you might need some seed money depending what you're producing. But once you seed it, then you will both be well provided for financially. The Vavnik is provided because he's implementing the ideas, and you're provided with because you're the one creating the ideas. It's your brainchild. And together in that partnership of the Yud and the Vav, you can actually really make great things happen. So Yud people, unfortunately, in their lives, most of the time just stare at their belly button for 60, 70 years and do some other stupid job they don't care about. And Vavniks, they often work at jobs that they also don't care that much about because they just got to pay their bills. But really, there's many Vavniks who would love to meet the right Yudnik. And the Yudnik gets together with the Vavnik, and together, you know, Yud plus Vav, you know, yo. Yeah. Being a Yud and Vav. There are people who are great ideas and great implementers. There are people like that. Okay. And the last hey, what does the last hey represent? Remember we said? Bringing it into dimension, into its dimensions. Vav is action. The hey is dimension, and look around the room, three-dimensional. That's this room. In other words, the name of God, Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, is a pictorial of creation itself. God saying, I want to create a world, then what kind of, I want to create a world, what kind of world? You know, and the answer is this kind of world, and then boom, creates the world by all the let there be's, right? Every second God's saying, let there be this, let there be that, right? If God were to stop saying, let there be, everything would disappear. And then finally, our world's made of that final hey. Our world's the dimension. Like our whole world is really the final hey of God's name, where the idea is implemented and comes into dimension. That's the final hey of God's name. Now, how long is it going to take you now to say a bracha? Have all this in mind. Whoa. And you understand why Rebbes are like, you know, Baruch Atah. Here you could just go on forever. Because it's like, who knows who God is? You know, you almost have to like spend the whole time you're saying, Atah. You have to like play asteroids with your concepts of God and get rid of them. Because he's not. Whatever you think he is, he's automatically not. Then the Adoi. Now the other thing about the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey is the way we pronounce it, which is the word Ado. and then noi, and probably spell it like this, just so we get the point, like noi.
Looks like peace.
Yeah, which means master. Okay, that means master. So if someone like, if I called your name, what's your name?
Garrett.
Garrett. So if I said Adon Garrett, yeah, means Mr. Garrett. It's Master Garrett. You ever seen on airplane tickets something that says Master, then it says their name? That's what it means. What? Master Wayne. Yeah, Master Garrett. Okay, so it means master. I mean, a sign of respect. Like you're running the show, we're not. Okay, it's like the customer's always right, master. Okay, it doesn't mean master like a, what is the other term of master? Like a slave owner. That's also called master. Yes, master. Yeah, that's not the master here. Okay, it's not massa. Okay, it's master meaning Master John or Master Daniel or Master whatever. It means that you're the boss. That's all. So we use the word boss, and we do not pronounce this name. You're not allowed to pronounce this name, even though the J witnesses did it. Yeah, thank God they use the word J. Yeah, because J is not how Yud's pronounced. But what happens is Americans always translate the Yud into a J, like Yehuda is Judah. The Rastafarians say Hallelujah, right? They call God Jah, which is great. Let them call it that. But it's not. It's with a Yud, obviously. So the J witnesses call it, Jah. But look, it actually spells it, right? Jah, if you put a ho here, and then a va, yeah? But they think his name's Joe or something. Joe. Why do we got God he, right? God obviously doesn't have genitalia. And if he did, it'd be really scary. Right? Why is God called he? That's an excellent question. The answer is very simple. I mean, for sure, a nation called the Jews, who are the first to tell you we have no idea who God is, certainly wouldn't be thinking God has a gender. So the reason why God is called he is because if you look at it Kabbalistically in a kind of adults-only way, the masculine causes flow, and the female receives flow. Okay, I don't want to go into much more detail. Okay, but the masculine causes a flow, and the female receives flow. So the only reason that God is ever referred to as he is because he's causing creation into existence. And the creation itself is always referred to in the feminine because it's receiving the creation. Okay, we receive the creation. And this is why, as a parenthetical note, why men have special mitzvahs that women don't have in Judaism, because these are emasculators to help feminize us to be in a relationship with God. Because if God's causing creation, so he relates very well to women. But to men who also want to, make their mark on every lamppost and bus bench they walk by, just to put it that way. We also want to make our mark, so it's a bit of a conflict, because he's asserting and we're asserting. And so it's generally a miss. So what happens is men have all these extra commandments, tzitzis, tefillin, a minyan, that are all ways to just circularize the man, to get the man to be more cyclical, to get the man to be the receiver of a relationship with God. And you'll notice the more androgynous a man is, the more related to God he will be. More connected to God, and the more masculine a man is, and he's lacking the feminine attributes in his system, so the less connected he'll feel. He'll always feel kind of at a fight with God if he's more of that masculine type. Shalom, everyone.